Welcome to the Week 12 NFL show. It's been a few long weeks, but we finally have Cole Martens back. Does it feel good to be back on the show?
Yeah, it's good to be back. It's been busy lately and you're on here, so.
So have we all, and plus it seems like everybody's been taking their bye weeks, so it's like we kind of took a bye. But our matchup here only happens once every 4 years, and we'll get to that on our second segment of this show. But let's see here. Week 11 was quite unpredictable, as pretty much every week is. I had a 7-7 week last time out. Ever since I started picking NFL games, of course this is my fourth season, I have one embarrassing pick just about every year. Even though we both picked Denver to beat Seattle, I had actually picked Atlanta to beat Seattle in the middle of the year. Remember that game?
Yep.
And I think we hit our embarrassing pick, for me at least, this time. Because I had picked Philly to beat Green Bay.
Yeah. I don't know if one chose that one.
It didn't turn out that way. Obviously. But this is a new week. 15 games this week. Only the Steelers and who else is on a bye? I forget.
I could not tell you right now.
Bengals? No, they play Houston this week. But I know Roethlisberger was on a bye on my fantasy team, so I had to put Dalton back in the starting lineup. But anyway, without further ado, Thursday night, Kansas City against Oakland.
Well, Oakland over this year still struggling a little bit. Still have not gotten their first win, as they seem like at times they can get close. And this team is not that bad of a team. I don't think it's just like we mentioned at the beginning of this year. Their schedule is very, very difficult, and it's going to be hard for them to get a win this year. And once again, this week they're going to play another tough opponent in Kansas City, who picked up a very big win last week over the Seattle Seahawks. And Kansas City trying to flex their muscles now, as I believe they are now in a tie for the AFC West division lead.
It's one game or a tie, but
I believe it was
right
a tie
there.
if I remember reading it right last night. But so Kansas City's back in the fight here for that division lead, including that with the San Diego Chargers and Denver Broncos. So they have something to prove in this game here. And this game is at home for the Kansas City Chiefs. I am going to take the Chiefs to win this one. Chiefs are obviously the better team in this one. This Oakland offense and defense still trying to figure things out, I do believe. And the Raiders are not going to win this one on Thursday night, and the Chiefs are going to win this one. We'll go with 24-10.
Okay, well, Kansas, as you see, I kind of made a script for myself on all this. Kansas City proved me right in my guess that the home team would win in the battle of loud stadiums. Kansas City and Seattle. Of the 8 1 o'clock games last week, I gotta say this one was probably the best. Kansas City, Seattle. Well, the Raiders, at least they made it a game. The San Diego.
Yeah.
They made it a game. It's been 1 year since they've won a regular season game. With that being said, a night game in the Black Hole, it's in Oakland, I think it is in Oakland,
Okay.
is not something to overlook. San Diego lost a night game in the Black Hole last year, which was probably the game that most of us slept through if we were on the East Coast, because it was at 11:35 at night. I watched the first quarter and I was like, I can't do it. I gotta fall asleep. I'm not going to 2 a.m. watching football. Sorry. This one is at 8:25 Eastern, and Andy Reid will have the Chiefs wide awake for it. Chiefs 31, Raiders 20. Sunday afternoon, Falcons-Browns.
Browns last week came into a very good one against a very good Texans team that showed up to play, and the Browns just seemed like they did not, as they suffered a loss and lose the division lead, as now I believe the Bengals that took the division lead back in the AFC North. Browns still look like a pretty good team. They just seem like they had some things they still need to figure out. Running game wasn't as great as it should have been last week, and the passing as well, as the offense could not get anything going against J.J. Watt and that great Texans defense. And then for the Falcons, they now get a win last week against the Panthers, I believe it was. And now with that win, somehow
The Saints lost.
Yeah, Saints lost. And now 4-6, they are winning the division now in the NFC South.
Like I said last week, doesn't this remind you of Pete Carroll's first year in Seattle?
Pretty much.
The
This
NFC
division
West.
is just not looking good at all right now. And Falcons right now in the running seat, try to win this division now, and going against a pretty good Browns team this year. And even though the Falcons are at home, I am actually going to go with the Falcons in this one because at home I believe they now have some momentum going for them. They can play good at home at times, but sometimes they can't. But I believe this is one of the games they're going to play at home. I believe Matt Ryan will have a big game. Also Julio Jones as well. And I have Falcons win this one over the Browns, 21-17.
As I assume that the American Hoyer story was better than American Horror Story, they lose to the Texans. Another thing that we proved in that game is that J.J. Watt is an animal.
Yeah, pretty much.
And he catches another touchdown pass, and he probably has more touchdown passes than a lot of good receivers out there. But anyway, that's for the Texans. I hinted that the Falcons could take the NFC South with a 4-6 record, and they did. Good for them. As for this, the Falcons are pretty good when they're in the Georgia Dome. They're favored by 3. But I don't think the NFC South is that good, and neither do a lot of people. Even at home, just ask the New Orleans Saints. Browns 24, Falcons 17. Eagles, Titans.
Titans on Monday night looked like they had a pretty good game going against the Pittsburgh Steelers, but it seemed like just let it go late, and the Steelers were able to pick up the win over the Titans. Musburger, they looked like he was doing a good. Mettenberger, excuse me. It looked like he was having a good game on Monday night. Just a couple, I think we threw one interception in the game. That was his only mistake, but overall, he looked
how many
good.
selfies did he take during the game? I'm a starting NFL QB. Get some.
But Titans, this thing, they're just trying to get some things figured out a little bit, and also for the Eagles, after last week's embarrassing destruction by the Green Bay Packers over them, as Mark Sanchez, who looked good the week before, and looked like he could maybe lead this team now after last week. Questions are going up now, as we don't know if they just played a really good Packer team or the Eagles just played really, really bad. That's something we'll probably have to find out this week. The Eagles are at home this one, though. Eagles are very strong at home, I do believe, in Titans being a weaker team. I believe Eagles are going to win this one, and I'm going to have the Eagles winning this. We're going to go 17-10.
Okay. Well, the Ken Wisenhunt Titans are trying hard, that's for sure. They made a Monday night disappointment look pretty good. Eagles, on the other hand, played awful against Green Bay and Lambeau Field. As I said when we started, that was probably my embarrassing pick of the year, was Philly over Green Bay. Mark Sanchez looked like Mark Sanchez again, and the defense wasn't that good at all either. But at home against a 2-8 Titans squad, look for this to be close in the beginning, but Philly will pull away at the end. Eagles 31, Titans 17. NFC North battle here, Vikings, Packers.
Well, the Vikings still also trying to figure some stuff out this year, as they just seem like they can get things going at times, but then there's times they can't. So that team's kind of a question mark when it comes into every week. And then you have the Packers, who are just on full throttle right now, and they just seem like they cannot be stopped, as they are on a mission to try to become maybe the best team in the NFC right now. And I do believe they are the best team in the NFC right now, with the way their offense is playing defense as well, as this team is hard to stop. And even if this game is in Minnesota, I just believe the Packers are just too good for the Minnesota Vikings. That offense, I believe, is going to run over the Vikings defense, and I'm going to have the Packers winning this one 35-10.
Well, the battle of the two teams that fared very differently against Chicago, that's for sure. The Pack blew them out and the Vikings somehow lost. The clock may have been an issue in Soldier Field, but if you lose to a team that was blown out the week before, that's a problem. Serious problem. Let me also mention that the Packers have scored 108 points in 120 minutes. That is unbelievable. I don't think I've seen anything like it. Have you? Have the Patriots been that good ever? Maybe in 2007?
They came close a couple times. The last 2 weeks they've scored over 40 points, so for the Patriots, so they're up there.
And maybe the 2007 Patriots, that's really the only thing I can think of right now being that dominant.
Or the Broncos last year.
That too. Thank God my Lions didn't play the Packers now.
Still got them.
Minnesota should be thankful that this game is at TCF Bank Stadium, or else they'd be a third victim of a 50-plus point performance by Aaron Rodgers. I doubt Rodgers will put up 50-plus on the road, but I also doubt Minnesota has a big chance at winning this. Packers 35, Vikings 20. Segment 2, coming up next.